Come for the bread, stay for the politics. I'm Ben Walsh, and this is Let Them Eat Bread. So this week on Let Them Eat Bread, we're going to do something a little different. I want to talk a little bit more about that as we get closer to our politics portion, but we're going to have a very different politics portion today than we usually do. So if you don't usually stick around for the politics portion, I highly encourage you to stick around for it today. It's going to be something a little different and a little slower pace, something that I think is going to be helpful just given everything that's in the news lately. And I'll talk more about that as we get there. But this episode is meant to be kind of a healing episode just based on what's going on. So that's what we're going to do for the politics portion. For the bread portion, however, this week we are making bread rolls. It is almost Thanksgiving time in the US. So it means we are gathering together with family and friends. Whether you're doing family Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving, rolls are a perfect part of a Thanksgiving meal. So this recipe comes to us from Tasty today. We're going to be trying Tasty Kitchen's bread rolls, and we're going to be making a full recipe of 16 rolls. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to put all these ingredients together, and then I will show you how to divide everything up as we get towards the end. All right, let's get started.
First thing we're going to do is take half a cup of warm water and combine it with 1 cup of warm whole milk. Now usually I substitute my milks, but I'm using whole milk specifically for this one. Next in goes our quarter cup of sugar and our quarter cup of melted butter. And on top of that, we're going to throw in 1 packet of active dry yeast. This then needs to be you need to give this a little bit of a stir, and then we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes. So we're just going to give that a quick stir so everything combines, then let it sit for 5 minutes. All right, now we are taking our single egg and giving that a quick whisk, not a very heavy whisk, and we're pouring that in. Right after 5-minute mark, we're going to pour in our yeast mixture here. Just putting all of that in, and then we're going to start to stir this around. It's going to be a little difficult at first because it's a very wet dough, but don't worry about it. It will all start to come together. You can see now that I've got it into kind of clumps. It's a little hard to see, but you can see that more of it's coming up as I stir each time. And then now a little later, we have it coming up in just giant dough balls, right? You can see now that it's coming up, and we're going to pour this out onto our work surface. Just get all the flour out of there, and then you can start kneading. This flour is going to end up needing some more dough, no puns intended, but what we're going to end up doing is just making sure that we lap up all the extra flour that we put down on the table. I would say over the course of kneading this, we added, about like an extra half a cup, 3/4 cup of flour, and we just poured it on top and just kneaded it all in. So what's going to happen now is I'm just going to knead all of this in. The consistency that you're looking for here is you want tacky and not sticky. The thing that's interesting about this dough is that it actually does require a lot of extra flour to be added. So no need to be conservative with the amount of flour you put on. Just, make sure that the consistency feels right as you're doing it. You'll get a sense of it because it will just kind of feel nice and soft as you go through the whole process of kneading it. So I'm just finishing up my knead here, and then we're going to give it the old window pane test here. Just first of all, of course, put it into a taut ball. Next things next, we're going to take a look to see if it is the appropriate needness, and verdict is we did it. All right, beautiful. So we're going to put it back into a taut ball and give it a nice little pat because you love it. Now let's oil our bowl. You need less than a teaspoon of this, really. You don't need a ton of oil. Just put your fingers around, give it a quick wipe down so that there is just enough oil to coat the bowl, plus a little extra for our ball of dough here. Now give that a quick toss in the oil to make sure it is completely covered, and then we are going to get this ready to be totally covered. So I am using cling film, for my covering. You don't have to, and I am struggling immensely. Come on, Ben, it's just cling film. It won't hurt you. Come on. Come on. There you go. All right. Next, we're going to put our tea towel on it and get ready to go.
All right, so our bread is ready for rising. We have covered it. We've oiled the bowl. It is ready to go. Set your timers for an hour. We may not go the full hour. If for whatever reason we don't go the full hour, there will be a jump cut from whenever we end to the hour mark. So just make sure your timers are correct. The timer that I'm using might seem a little off just based on the way the video is going to be cut up later, but just, just an FYI. So let's put this away and get a timer going for 1 hour. See you in a moment.
All right, so our bread dough has risen. We're just gonna start to measure this. All right, so we need to punch down our dough first. You saw me do, and give it a quick knead to absorb all of that extra oil that we've just put in it. Once that is done, it's about a 2-minute knead. Once that's done, we want to give our dough away. Mine weighed 48 ounces, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna divide our dough into 16 balls of exact same weight, okay? And the reason you have to be so careful about this is because when you actually get to the point where these are rising, they're going to rise into each other when we do our second rise, and they are going to bake into each other when we bake them. So we want to make sure they're all the same size, so they're not pushing each other around, and we don't have rolls that absorb other rolls and things like that. So ultimately, all 16 of these rolls ended up being about 3 ounces each, which just happened to work out really perfectly that I had a number that was pretty much divisible by 16. Whatever your math ends up being, just make sure they are pretty much all the same, or else it's really not going to work the same way. So you can just see that I'm being careful to weigh each of these individually, and very specifically, I'm just dividing my 48 into 2, into 2, into 2, into 2, into 2, until I have 16. And then I'm putting each one in the palm of my hand and just moving it carefully and slowly around the board, just to make sure that they are the right shape, and I'm just placing each one of them on the board here. So that's half of them. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other half. Once you have 16 rolls, the next thing we're going to do is let them rise for 1 hour, and then we are going to give them a little bit of an egg wash, throw some salt to them, and cook them at 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. And then we are going to take them out, let them cool, and enjoy. There is no episode next week for the American holiday of Thanksgiving. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Bye now. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on it, share with your friends, and subscribe for more of our content. You can also find all of our videos and clips on youtube.com. Just search Let Them Eat Bread and you'll find all of our content. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye for now.